Alongside the introduction of computers to modern business and life in general, perhaps the greatest era of change in history was the Industrial Revolution of the 18th and 19th centuries. This period saw dramatic upheaval in the entire social structure of two continents when Europe and North America grew from being predominantly agrarian and rural to becoming industrial and urban. Before this change, manufacturing was often a home-based enterprise, using only basic and rudimentary hand tools for the process. Output was limited and, by definition, varied in style and quality depending on any number of factors inherent in the tradesman's craft at that time. Starting in the late 1700s in Britain, this changed. A shift was made to mass production of goods using purpose-designed factories and machinery, powered at first instance by steam. The main industries impacted in the beginning were the iron and textile industries, located mainly in the north of Britain, which had large natural deposits of coal and iron ore. Britain was also a major colonial power, meaning further raw materials could be sourced from its colonies, such as wool from Australia, with these same colonies also providing accessible marketplaces for the finished goods. The Industrial Revolution brought with it some monumental improvements in public access systems of transportation, banking and communications, and also provided a huge increase in the volume and variety of manufactured goods available. All social positives, and with the benefit of hindsight, difficult to argue with. Industrialization raised the standards of living for many, especially in the upper and middle classes. However, because of a failure of government to recognize the social and legislative changes that need to accompany such reforms, the working and lower classes suffered terribly. Wages for factory workers were low, and working conditions could be dangerous and monotonous. Workers had little job security and were easily replaced, especially with children available as an integral part of the workforce. The children worked long hours and were used for extremely hazardous duties such as cleaning the machines because of their small hands. Living conditions were poor as the newly developed urban areas were unable to cope with the influx of workers arriving from rural areas. Housing was overcrowded and inadequate, with living conditions that were polluted and unsanitary, leading to rampant disease. It took the British government over 100 years to satisfactorily manage the changes that were introduced by the Industrial Revolution. Not until the late 1800s were labour reforms and unionism introduced to alleviate the situation, and only then, after continued public pressure, notably from social reformers like Charles Dickens, who parodied the inaction of the government and the lives of the working class mercilessly in many of his novels.